The aroma of stale coffee and old paper was a comforting blanket to Arthur Pendleton. For 40 years, he'd been a meticulous cog in the vast, whirring machine of Sterling & Sons Bank, a life defined by ledgers, interest rates, and the quiet hum of the air conditioning. Now, at 62, with retirement a mere whisper on the horizon, Arthur felt a peculiar blend of anticipation and dread. He had a secret, one he'd nursed for decades, tucked away behind the impenetrable walls of his meticulously ordered mind. It began innocently enough, a small, almost imperceptible oversight in the archaic accounting system from his early days. A fractional rounding error here, a forgotten penny there. Tiny discrepancies that, in the grand scheme of the bank's billions, were less than a raindrop in the ocean. But Arthur, with his fastidious nature, had noticed, and instead of correcting them, a mischievous imp, or perhaps a budding sense of self-preservation, had prompted him to divert them. Not to his personal account, never that. Arthur Pendleton was a man of strict moral codes, even if he was bending one. Instead, he'd opened a phantom account, a digital ghost in the machine, under the most unassuming of names, miscellaneous adjustments. Into this account, over the years, trickled the forgotten coins, the unallocated sums, the financial lint of the bank. It was a slow, steady stream, each deposit a testament to the system's imperfections and Arthur's quiet rebellion. He never touched the money. It was his secret, his personal rebellion against the monolithic institution that had consumed his life. It was a fantasy, a silent promise of freedom. He imagined himself, once retired, using it to travel, to finally see the world beyond the drab gray of his office and the familiar patterns of his suburban life. He pictured himself on a sun-drenched beach or exploring ancient ruins, far from the clatter of keyboards and the hushed whispers of banking etiquette. The account grew, slowly but surely, a hidden testament to the accumulation of small negligences. $5 here, 23 cents there. Over 40 years, these seemingly insignificant sums blossomed into a formidable, life-changing amount. Arthur, ever the meticulous record keeper, kept a separate handwritten ledger at home, hidden beneath loose floorboards, detailing every single tiny deposit. Then came the announcement. Sterling & Sons was being acquired by a massive international conglomerate. There would be a complete system overhaul, a digital purge, a modernization that would undoubtedly expose his secret. Panic, cold and sharp, gripped Arthur. His carefully constructed fantasy, his decades-long silent rebellion was on the verge of being unmasked. He envisioned disgrace, prison, his meticulously crafted life crumbling around him. He had to act. But what? Simply withdrawing the money would raise red flags the size of billboards. Transferring it would be equally suspicious. He was trapped, a tiny mouse caught in the gears of a giant machine, his secret savings now a terrifying burden. For days, Arthur walked around in a fog, his usually precise movements faltering, his mind a whirlwind of frantic possibilities. He barely slept, the image of flashing red warning lights and stern-faced auditors haunting his dreams. One afternoon, staring blankly at his computer screen, an email popped up. It was from the bank's new CEO, a slick young man named Marcus Thorne, announcing a new philanthropic initiative. The Sterling Legacy Fund, it read, dedicated to supporting local community projects and fostering financial literacy in underserved areas. A spark ignited in Arthur's mind. Philanthropy. It was audacious, reckless, but it was also perfect. He could make a donation, an anonymous donation. The next few weeks were a blur of calculated risks. He carefully, meticulously began to move the funds from miscellaneous adjustments to the Sterling Legacy Fund. It wasn't a single enormous transfer, but a series of smaller, less noticeable transactions disguised within the legitimate flow of the bank's charitable giving. He used his knowledge of the old system's quirks to mask the origin, making it appear as if the money had simply materialized from various previously unallocated internal accounts. Each click of the mouse was a gamble. Each successful transfer a surge of adrenaline mixed with terror. He worked late into the nights, his heart pounding in his chest, his eyes scanning for any hint of suspicion. He felt like a criminal. Yet his intentions, he reasoned, were pure. He wasn't stealing for personal gain. He was rerouting lost money back into a system that would genuinely benefit people. On his last day, as he packed up his meager belongings, a chipped coffee mug, a framed photo of his late wife, and a worn dictionary, Arthur felt a profound sense of closure. The miscellaneous adjustments account was empty, its balance a pristine zero. The Sterling Legacy Fund, however, had received an unexpected, anonymous boost, enough to fund several ambitious projects. As he walked out of Sterling & Sons for the final time, the automatic doors sliding open with a soft sigh, Arthur took a deep breath. The stale coffee and old paper were gone, replaced by the crisp, cool air of a new beginning. He wasn't rich in the traditional sense, but he was free. He had not only saved himself, but in a strange, circuitous way, he had also helped to build a legacy, a testament to his decades of quiet observation and his secret, carefully cultivated savings. He smiled, a genuine, unburdened smile. His retirement, he realized, would be even more fulfilling than he had ever imagined. He might not be traveling the world on his secret stash, but he had something far more valuable. The knowledge that his small act of rebellion had quietly, anonymously made a real difference. The world, he decided, was still full of hidden possibilities, even for a meticulous, unassuming man like Arthur Pendelton.